those of us that are survivors here with us tonight, I think of our cancer as a journey. Do the survivors here agree with that? Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey you take with many family, friends, and our journeys are all different. And Danny's story tonight too is a long. He's had a rough road, but you're going to hear his story and the power of his family and friends and prayer that got him here to this stage tonight. So it is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Danny Dulak.
Thank you. You were talking about my journey, not my speech, right? That was long? Because it's kind of lengthy. You may want to get comfortable. Never put a microphone in front of a Dulak. Really, get comfortable. My name is Danny Dulak. I'm proud to be the 2011 Hartford Slinger Relay for Life honorary chair. Unintentionally, my relationship with the relay has come full circle. Since 2001, I have been a team member, team captain, a committee volunteer, and a lead for campsites, websites, and this year logistics. When my wife and I got started walking with the teams from Signacast in 2001, I didn't have any close personal brushings with cancer. When Wendy first came home and said we were participating in a relay, I was wondering why she was signing us up for a running event. I don't run. I still don't run. After our first year, we realized what a great event this was and wanted to get more involved with the community. I was always amazed at the committee volunteers' passion for the cause. I supported it, but these individuals were living it. Over the last 3 years, this event has become much more personal to us. In 1984, just before I went into high school, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. Thinking back in my head, I vaguely remember the doctor saying something about cancer or taking something out later on in life, but that seemed decades away. I was more concerned about maybe getting a date in high school someday and knowing where every bathroom was in a 1-mile vicinity. In 2001, I was diagnosed with diabetes. In 2007, primary sclerosing cholangitis, PSC. PSC is a blockage of the bile ducts which lead to your liver. Those are all big names, but none of them are cancer, right? Through regular tests and medication, most of my problems were under control. In the summer of 2008, during one of my regular, every 6-month colonoscopy visits, the test found something. Before I go on, I want to pause and talk to all the guys especially here. When you are told by your doctor to go get a colonoscopy, go do it. I remember my first reaction was, you're going to put what? Where? No thanks. Without that test and the advances that the American Cancer Society research has brought to colon cancer, I would not be here today. If you think you're too manly to have a colonoscopy, try crapping in a bag that's attached to your stomach after you have your colon removed. That's not very sexy either. Go get it done. So where was I? I just had my colonoscopy a previous week. I was on vacation with my family in Eagle River. I got a call from my GI nurse. Dr. Fowl wants to talk to you in a few minutes. I knew that wasn't good. I remember walking out to the car so I'd have better reception when the doctor called me back. A few minutes later, which felt like an eternity, he told me that I had the beginning stages of colon cancer. The longer they waited to treat it, the more likely it would be to spread. Time to take the colon out. Before they could do that, they wanted to test my bile ducts one more time. At that particular moment, that seemed like the least of my worries. My PSC had been unchanged for some time. So they tested my bile ducts. If you have a pipe that's clogged in your house, you would stick a snake down there and clean it out. That's basically what they had been doing to me since 2007. Unclogging and testing the cells that came back in the tube. So I had this done, and guess what? The test results came back positive. I had bile duct cancer, which as I mentioned before, is connected to your liver. 2 cancers, unrelated, not one spreading from a separate place, just 2 different ones occurring at the exact same time. Wow, was I lucky? I should go buy a lottery ticket. So how do you fix PSC with a liver transplant? Unfortunately, you can't take out someone's colon and do a liver transplant at the exact same time. It just doesn't work like that. 1 month later, in August of 2008, I had my colectomy done to remove my colon. I had a temporary ostomy bag placed so that my newly concocted pipes could heal. For 6 months, my wife and I, she would help me change my ostomy bag every 3 days. When you say in sickness and in health, this is not the stuff that you think about. Every cancer survivor has an angel, and she was mine. In September, I started 3 months of chemo and radiation on my bile ducts at Community Memorial Hospital. In early December of 2008, I was put on the list for a liver transplant. In the months in between, I had a ton of time to think about this. Essentially, while you're on a transplant list, you're praying someone else dies so that you can live. There are very few situations in life where you can examine your mortality so in depth for such a long period of time. I don't really think that deeply, nor do I choose to, so I just bided my time. On May 6, 2009, I got a call from my transplant coordinator at UW-Madison. I needed to get to the hospital ASAP. On May 7th, I had a new liver, and amazingly, sorry, I didn't memorize this. Amazingly, 3 days later, I was back home. For a person that was expecting to be in the hospital for 3 weeks and feeling horrible, I felt pretty good. Me and my pharmacy of 34 pills a day went home and started the healing process. I'd like to take another little break here and do a public service announcement. As of today, and I looked this up today, this afternoon as I was writing this, 111,000 people are on transplant waiting lists. So far this year, there have been 6,000 transplants. There aren't enough donors. You can't take it with you. I beg you to consider becoming a transplant donor. Sign the back of your license tonight. Tell your family. The 68-year-old grandfather, whose liver I have, decided to make that donation. I know this liver will not last me. I'll have the joy of going through the transplant process again. I beg you to consider to become a donor. If not for everyone else, I'm greedy for me. I was able to make it through the transplant process because the American Cancer Society had invested money in research in something called the Mayo Protocol. You see, the process that I went through had not been completed by hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands. Roughly 1,000 people in the world have gone through the treatment that I have done. Sometimes we may ask ourselves why we bother with Relay. I can easily say that without the money raised from Relay for Life, I would not be here tonight. This is my Oscar portion of my speech where I thank everyone under the sun. I would like to thank the awesome group of friends that we discovered at St. Killian's School and Church. While all of this was happening, we were just getting to know this group, and they stopped at nothing to help us. To my friends at Thomas More High School, who I've been through everything with in the last 20 years, I have you to thank for helping make me who I am today. To my employer, Source Medical, for letting me keep my job while I did very little for 12 months. They had a lot of options to cut ties early on in the process, and they chose not to. I am eternally grateful for that. To my family who gave of their time without asking, I have been fortunate enough to grow up in a family like this. I never worried about who was taking care of our kids or who was going to drive me to a doctor's appointment in Madison. Someone was always there. To my parents for bringing up such a wonderful family. Most importantly, to my wife, Wendy, for doing everything for 12 months straight. for tolerating during my times of not so positive days. Apparently I get crabby, I never noticed. For your nursing abilities that I don't think either one of us realized you had. For always reminding me, you are going to fight. You are going to beat this. There are no other options. The Relay for Life and the American Cancer Society have given me the resources and the information that they supply to so many people who battle cancer. When Wendy and I were trying to figure out how to tell our then 5, 3, and 1-year-old how Daddy had cancer, we turned to the American Cancer Society website. The information was there. ACS has also given the support and the backing to help develop the very drugs and procedures that keep me alive today. Most importantly, they have given me friends on this committee throughout the relay that I will treasure for a lifetime. I hope moving forward, when you question your ability or willingness or resources to participate in the Relay for Life, that you will remember the great number of people that have had more birthdays because of your work. Push yourself even harder to achieve your fundraising goals. Thank you for the opportunity to be the 2011 Honorary Chair, a title I never wanted, but I gladly accept. Thank you very much.